Willie D live.
What's up, family? 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells went boating to celebrate Independence Day with some friends. Well, those friends returned back home, except Nolan was nowhere to be found. Nolan was found, however, a couple of days later, dead. How does something like this happen? You know, when I was growing up, my mama always said, y'all leave together, you come back together. No child left behind. Yeah, my mama was the original author of that. You leave together, you come back together. And everybody gonna be responsible if one person don't come back. Everybody gonna be responsible. And this is where we are right here with this case, family. All of these dudes involved should be held accountable. This is some other friends, some of the friends, I think, it's a couple of them that was on the boat is in that picture that you see right there. But there's another picture, and I'll take this one down and replace it with the other picture. But that picture shows the guys that he was with, some of the guys that he was with on that particular day where Nolan came up missing. So we've been talking about warning Black kids about being the only Black around a group of white friends. Now, I know some white people gonna get offended by that, but that ain't my business. It's more important for me to tell it like it is than to spare your feelings and try to make you feel comfortable. We got a crisis, and it's been happening. It's been going on, but it's becoming more prevalent these days. I mean, left and right, you see these cases. And I got another case I'm gonna bring to you later today, just like this one. I mean, it mirrors this case. Young brother went out with his group of white friends and everybody came back home except him. Found him dead. So here's one man's experience. He said, hey man, I experienced the same thing when, I was hanging out with my white friends. I went swimming with some white friends and I almost drowned, and they were gonna all let me drown. Check it out.
To me, I think I was like 22 years old working at Texas Roadhouse. You know what I mean? Young, silly, forgot a couple of the things that my granddaddy told me when I was growing up. But at any rate, every year, the employees and managers, they would take this little, resort, and it wasn't really a resort, it was in the country, and they would take a couple of canoes, some ice chest of beer, and you know what I mean, everybody was out there smoking, you know what I mean, and I'm like, man, that sounds like a good time. And mind you, I could swim, been swimming since, I don't know, maybe it was 4 years old when I jumped in the pool for the first time. But at that point in time, I thought these people were my friends. Another lesson my grandparents taught me when I was younger is that you don't have any friends. You know what I mean? You really do not. Like, my siblings were always my friends, and I learned that. At any rate, I signed up to go on this, little trip with these people. And, it was good at first. It was, the water was kind of shallow. You know what I mean? We maybe had 6 or 7 canoes out there, music, people having a good time. And, I'm not really used to that, and I'm not having a good time. But usually when me and my kinfolk get together and play music that loud and was as rambunctious as they were, and because the whole time I'm looking around like, when the police showing up? We smoking weed out loud and everything. So mind you, after a while I got comfortable into it, you know what I mean? Everybody told me, loosen up, but I'm on edge, you know what I mean? For many reasons. And so the trip continued, and at one point in time, they let us know, okay, so we're gonna get up on the bank right here, and then we're gonna go see the waterfall. So I'm like, oh, okay, so but what we gonna do at the waterfall? You know what I mean? Because I'm vibing, but at the same time, I'm not stupid. And they was like, we're just gonna look at sit there, light a fire, smoke some more, drink some more. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we get to the little spot where we pull up the canoes, we anchor them off and whatnot, and then they tell us, okay, so this little piece of water right here, we got to swim across that to get to the waterfall. I hate when people add extras to a plan. You know what I mean? Especially for me, I think into a lot of things and I got a plan. So I'm still like, cautious, and I'm watching everybody dive in this water, you know what I mean, and swim right across. You know what I mean? And I hadn't jumped in yet because I'm still leery. And I don't know what it was, but it was holding me back. But so I'm the last person. Everybody like, come on, let's go, let's go. So I jump in and I get almost halfway through over that water to the other side. And then I realize that I'm swimming rather hard and ain't moving nowhere. Long story short, nobody told me that there was a strong current at this spot and you needed to be prepared. At this point, I'm smoking and drinking. So I couldn't understand. Mind, just get back to the story. So I get halfway through the water and I realize that, and I'm losing my strength slowly but surely. And at this point in time, I am calling out for help. No music is playing at this time. You know what I mean? None. Yeah, everybody was rambunctious, excited, whatever, but you could clearly hear me out there in the woods. It's still daylight. So I am screaming that I can't make it. Somebody please help me. They turn around, several of them look at me, say, you can do it, come on, let's go. And they continue to walk off. At this point in time, I have already said my prayers and have already decided that I'm going to meet my maker. I scream one more time, I am going to drown, and I went down. I don't know can't remember who was and what made them decide to change their mind and come back, but one person jumped in that water, grabbed me, pulled me up onto the bank, and mind you, they didn't do anything else after that and continued on their way. So I said all of this to say that I have Caucasian friends, you know what I mean? And I ain't saying friends. I have Caucasian people that I love and care about. You know what I mean? Because that's what God said. But I will be honest with you. It is a lesson that the elders taught us as young black children. The same lesson that I'm sure you're telling all your children now. Do not be the only one. And it really doesn't matter how people feel about that, because the concern is preservation of life. So for some reason, God saw fit to not allow me to lose my life that day. And for some reason, God called Nolan home. So I will say that despite what anybody feels about how you feel about the situation, please have that conversation with your children. And that's all I'm going to say. Rest in peace, Nolan Wells, and to his entire family.
I think a dude named Sterling, and his handle is King, K-Y-N-G, King again, 01 on TikTok. I ain't got no problem with that. I hope y'all listening. I hope you're listening, not just the youngsters, because James Byrd, I believe, was about 49 when he hopped into a car with some would-be friends or so-called friends in Texas. And they ended up tying him to the back of his truck and drug him until his body parts just came off the ropes that they had it tied to. Like his body parts were scattered all over the road for like a couple of miles. Yeah. See, so we're going to have these conversations. We got to speak on this type of thing. And it ain't about how you feel. Nobody gives a damn about how you feel. This is a shoe fit wear situation. I think for those white folks out there who might get offended by this, if you really are offended by this, you can do something about it by holding your white family members and friends and acquaintances and co-workers accountable, making sure that justice is served when they do something like this. Make sure you raise hell. Make sure there is an uprising when these type of things happen. Because if you are who you say you are, they're making you look bad. You see? They got people looking at you with a suspicious eye. And so the onus is on you to check them. You know, we talk about how our children need to be careful about who they hang around, and who white people who they consider to be friends, because some of them have an appetite for harming Black bodies. That's what our kids can't fathom, that because they just look at a friend as a friend. That's how it should be. But the truth of the matter is, some white people have a fascination with harming Black bodies. Look at the police every day, all day. They're fascinated with it. Yeah. It appears to me that Black people aren't the only ones having this talk. Check out some of these comments that was on Sterling's, TikTok. So this is a mixed bag of groups. So as a Black mama, we teach, if y'all go together, y'all come back together, no matter the color. Somebody else said, never be the only one. Someone else said, I'm glad you made it back home. You made it home that day. Remember Tamala Horsford? Remember her? That's the Black woman who went to the sleepover with her white friends and never came home. She was found dead at the bottom on the ground. They say that she had fell over a second floor balcony and nobody knew what happened. Nobody saw her. They tried to act like she was drunk. But again, she's the only Black person in a group of white friends, and the Black person ends up dead. Somebody else said, discernment is a blessing. By the grace of God, you live to tell the story. Someone said, I'm Asian, and even I have this conversation with my kids from day one. I learned my lesson when I was about 11 to 12 years old at a sleepover. I was the only one. I called my mom so fast, I went home. As a Mexican, I've had damn near the exact same experience. I have a friend that kept trying to convince me to visit her family's lake house in Michigan, saying she'd teach me how to swim and I'd have fun hiking in the woods. I'm from Brooklyn, no thanks. Sterling said, good decision. You're damn right, it was a good decision. Someone else said, as an Hispanic mother, this conversation, it's definitely happening with my 12-year-olds and 10-year-old. It's happening with my 12-year-old and 10-year-old. Crazy, I have to teach this to all three of my boys, especially my oldest, because he thinks they are his friends, but mama see the difference and he don't. And it's hard to explain it to him. Yep. People are way too casual in and around water. I am watching all my friends like a hawk when we're on water. It's really that serious. Someone else said, it doesn't matter how other people feel about it. Don't be the only one. As a South Asian mom with a half-Black child, I will begin this conversation now. She's only 5, but I understand the importance of this message. Someone else said, what does it mean? Do not be the only one. And they got educated pretty fast. So there it is, fam. People are having this discussion, not only Black people, but other groups are having this conversation. White people are having this conversation too, because I've seen a number of white people actually call out white people who behave in such a manner that they have this fixation for harming Black bodies. Yeah, so salute to all of the white people that are standing on business and calling out the demonic white people who have this appetite for destroying Black bodies. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.